We've had our garden, gym and office finished now for a few years, and we've lived with it through 2 winters. And how we've been heating it in the winter is using this small wood stove. But today I'm going to be upgrading the heating system in here using this diesel heater. So like I say, we've used this stove for a couple of years now, and the reason that I'm changing it out for a diesel heater is for a few reasons. So this heats the building really well, and because it's insulated well, it stays nice and warm. One thing is it does take up quite a lot of space because it has to be set off the wall, and then we've got a bit of a hearth with this slab, so it does take up a fair bit of room over here next to the desk. Secondly is because this is a cheap stove that's meant for like workshops and garages, it's not like meant for a house. It's not sealed that well, so it does leak smoke when it's not burning hot, which means when you light it, it does leak quite a lot of smoke. And that's obviously not ideal for many reasons. One, obviously I'm working in here a lot, so I don't really want to be breathing in smoke. And two, it's got to the point where when I've been lighting it, I've now been leaving the door open and coming back in half an hour, so it's obviously taking a lot longer for everything to heat up. And obviously with the baby on the way, when the baby's in here, I don't want her breathing in any smoke. So we're getting rid of this and we're going to swap it for the diesel heater. I installed one of the separate diesel heaters in the camper van conversion. This one isn't the separate parts, it's the built-in system. So there's a little bit less to do with this. There's just basic assembly, basic wiring, and we're going to have to obviously drill through the wall to run the exhaust pipe out of. I'm just going to quickly show you everything that comes with this heater. So it comes as a main unit, and when it arrives it has these feet separately and they just clip on. Then in the box there's some instructions, some fixings and the ducting. So this main piece of thick ducting is for the outlet, so you can position that and then run your ducting to point whichever way you want. And these attach just with some large Jubilee clips. Then there's the air intake line, which I'm not actually going to use, and just a small air filter. But what I'm actually going to do is run the air filter straight on to the air intake on the actual bottom of the heater, because the air can just be taken directly from the source. The other piece that comes with it, that is down here on the floor, is the exhaust pipe, and that just goes on, again with the Jubilee clip, onto the exhaust outlet. It also comes with a silencer, and again everything just Jubilee clips on, and if you want to attach your outlets or inlets onto the wall or anything, you've got these clips. They're more designed if you're doing it in a van, and there's various bolts and screws and stuff for fixing it to the floor. So it's remote operated, and it has a screen on the front which is all pre-installed. This is basically the diesel heater inside, and then you've got the fuel tank on top. So you just fill that with fuel, and everything's already connected. With the one that I put in the camper van, I basically had to connect everything, run the fuel lines and everything, wire it all up. But with this one, you literally have a positive and a negative cable, and you run this just to a battery. I use battery power in here anyway because I'm on solar, but if you're using this on mains, you want to actually get yourself a battery charger and plug a car battery or a leisure battery in to a trickle charger kind of charger. And that basically is because if you're using this and the power goes off, it can't do its self-cooling part. Basically the fan stays on afterwards and it cools itself down. If it doesn't do that, it could potentially overheat, either damaging the unit or it can obviously be a fire risk. So if you've got this directly into the mains and you have a power cut and there's no backup source of power, it's just going to turn itself off and overheat. Whereas if you plugged into the battery, your power will go off, but the battery will keep this going. You can turn it off properly and it'll do its cooling down system. I'll show you a little bit more about the controls when I've got everything wired up, but the controls are all pretty basic. And this one also is a Bluetooth one, so it runs off an app as well, so that might be quite handy if it's any good, but I'll try that out once everything's connected. So I'm going to clear some space now, get this connected, and then once I've got some diesel, I can get this fired up and working. Now I'm going to be installing it in this corner, which is now a right mess because I started pulling everything out to see whether there was space. And I've decided this shelving unit is going to move to the opposite end of the desk, and it'll replace this shelving unit, which previously had a top on and the printer sat on it. So that used to look like that. And what I'm going to do is just take the top of this off, and then the diesel heater is going to sit on top of this. So the diesel heater will just sit onto there, and that'll just keep it off the ground. Ironically, the reason I bought this one was because it had nice big feet and legs on it, and I was planning on just sitting it on the rubber floor mats in here. But if you put the exhaust pipe in, which comes out of the bottom, even with a very tight bend like that, when you sit it on the floor, you can see that the exhaust pipe actually touches the floor. This obviously gets hot, which means it's going to melt the rubber floor mats. I could have cut the floor away and had bare concrete, but I didn't really want to start cutting the flooring up too much. So instead of doing it like that, we're going to use this shelving unit, and then that'll sit on top of there and it'll give it plenty of clearance, and there'll be no danger of melting any of the rubber or having any rubber fumes or anything like that coming off. So we'll get started. I'm going to pull everything out, get everything cleared. I'll refit those far shelves at the other end, get everything a little bit more tidy, and then I'll put this unit in at that side, mark everything up, get the hole cut, run this exhaust out, and then we can get some diesel, get this primed, and then get it tested out. Now that that's clear, I'm going to lift this into place just temporarily whilst I remove the stove. So now I can get this stove all removed, and this is actually quite easy. It just lifts out, it's slotted in. So that lifts out of there. And then the flue pipe there goes through the wall, through this heat shield, so we'll remove this. And then there's another heat shield on the outside. So I'm going to go outside and do the same and get the flue completely removed from the outside of the building as well. So the flue's just held on with these brackets, and then another heat shield. So I'm just going to do the same as inside. Gonna remove this heat shield. Right, so I think this is the rough position that we're going to mount it in. Originally, I was thinking about mounting it at 90 degrees to this and running it along this wall. But because the exhaust pipe has to go out that way through the wall, it meant that it would have to run directly past the air intake, and it would have been a little bit close and potentially could have started melting the plastic on the air intake. So I didn't want to risk that. So I'll mount it this way. The exhaust is going to run out directly through that side. I could have run it through there, but I would have had to cut away the OSB and the scaffolding board on the outside, and that wall's actually 200mm thick rather than 100mm like the rest of them, so this would have been pushing it, and it's a bit nicer to have this coming out the side of the building than out the front. So I'm going to get this in position and mark this up against the wall. This is flexible, so the position's not too critical. So I'll mark it up, I'll drill a hole all the way through, and then I can get this installed with a Jubilee clip. And then, to be honest, there's not a lot else left to do other than filling it with some diesel. I think I've still got clearance here to fill this, but I'll double check because obviously I don't want to not be able to fill this very easily. So now everything is all drilled out, I can connect everything up using the Jubilee clips. That doesn't need a Jubilee clip because that's just a push fit. It's snugly on there and it's not going anywhere. This exhaust outlet does need a Jubilee clip, so I'm just going to slip that over there, and then I can tighten up the Jubilee clip to set that in place. I'm just going to flip that around, make it a bit easier. Pre-tighten this slightly. So that on there, and then tighten the Jubilee clip up. A little bit awkward to get this all fitted, but not the end of the world. I just need to angle this pipe out through the wall. Right, I've got some cable ties. I'm just going to cable tie this onto the base. Then I'm going to wire this up next. So that's everything wired up. I've just connected negative and positive. This is two 12-volt batteries to make a 24-volt system. And the good thing about this heater is it works with 12 and 24 volts, so it works fine on this system. If you are running 12 volt, you've probably just got one battery, so you would just be negative to negative, positive to positive. So I can get this switched on by either the remote or the touchscreen.
Start heating.
Well, it talks to you as well. And now we just need to prime the pump. Now the burner's fired up, and if I carefully touch the exhaust, it's warm, so this should now start blowing hot air, which it is doing. Right, so that's all working as it should, and what I'm now going to do is just do a temperature test, and I'll turn the heater on. I'll just put it on full, leave it blasting. I'll leave it for 20 minutes, half an hour, and we'll see what the temperature goes to. So I'll turn this on now.
Start heating.
Weird that it talks to you. Temperature in the room is showing as a lovely 9.7 degrees. So I'll leave it for half an hour and we'll see what it gets up to. So this is half an hour later. I'm just going to turn this off. Wrong button. Turn this off. And then that'll keep running until it cools everything down. And as you can see, we've gone up to 16.8 degrees. Considering this is quite a sizable room, 6 by 4 meters, don't think that is too bad at all. So I started using the diesel heater for a couple of times. It was working absolutely fine, but then I got an error. So I contacted the seller on Amazon and they sent me a replacement unit, which I've installed in the exact same way. I've used that now for a good few times, more than the first one, and that's working absolutely fine. I'm not actually sure what the issue was, but they've sent a new one and it's working spot on. It's so much nicer now just to be able to come into the office, turn the heating on, and the place heat up rather than having to bring in wood, light a fire, wait for the fire to heat up. I can now just at a click of the button warm the office up. And it's also opened up all of this floor space, so we've got more space in the gym part of the gym and office. If you're looking at getting yourself one of these heaters, I would definitely recommend these built-in all-in-one units if it's for a building. I'll leave the link in the description to the unit that we bought. If you want to check out the camper van version that I fitted, I'll leave the link to that in the description. Thanks as always for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, it really does help us out. And I'll see you in the next one.